Funerals have been held in northeastern Nigeria for some of the estimated 110 people killed during the weekend in an attack on farm workers. Well, that violence in Borno State has been blamed on Boko Haram jihadists, although some analysts have suggested this could have been the work of a group affiliated with the Islamic State group. France 24's Emerald Maxwell has more.
Slaughtered by extremists while they farmed the land. Dozens of the farm labourers killed on Saturday have been laid to rest, but many are still missing. Locals say they suspect Boko Haram fighters were responsible for what was the deadliest attack on civilians this year. Many fear it won't be the last.
Boko Haram killed many of our people. We need assistance, we need weapons and armed men. We have youths who will volunteer to guard our farmers while they work.
Authorities have launched a search for the culprits. The attack took place near Maiduguri in Nigeria's northeast, a region struggling to contain jihadist violence. Local militia said several other workers were injured and some presumed to have been kidnapped. The killings came as people voted in local elections in Borno State, polls which had been repeatedly postponed due to an increase in attacks by Boko Haram and a rival group linked to the Islamic State group. Last month, Boko Haram fighters killed 22 farmers working on irrigation fields near Maiduguri in 2 separate incidents. The jihadist insurgency has been destabilizing northeast Nigeria for a decade. At least 36,000 people have been killed in the conflict, while around 2 million have been displaced.
Well, for more analysis, we can speak now to Vincent Foucher, who's an expert on West Africa and a researcher at CNRS. That is the acronym of the French for the National Centre for Scientific Research, who joins us from Bordeaux. Now, we've heard the Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari condemning that attack, calling for the perpetrators to be brought to justice. Do you think that's likely?
Well, Boko Haram has been around for, since 2009, and not many of them have been brought to justice, including its most significant leaders who've been identified for a while. So I'm not too confident about imminent justice.
And that being the case, I mean, it doesn't seem like any progress in particular is being made against Boko Haram. In fact, quite the opposite. And we're now talking about this second jihadist group, a rival jihadist group, that may have been behind those attacks in Borno State. So do you agree that the problem is getting much worse and it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon?
Yeah, there was a split in 2016, and the other faction, to the sort of historical Boko Haram faction led by Abubakar Shekau, is the one connected to the Islamic State, and they have really improved. They have learned a lot, and their modus operandi is actually a lot more efficient than Shekau, and they are the ones actually putting paid to the Nigerian army these days, basically the two groups are to the rural areas, but they're very firmly there, and they are mounting a very strong challenge to the security forces. So yes, the issue is still very much alive.
So what's not happening? I mean, where's the president and the government in all of this, and why aren't they having more success in tackling these two groups, which in fact they're not just two groups, but they're two groups that have expanded beyond Nigeria's borders and now threaten the entire region?
Yeah, they have presence and influence in neighboring areas of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger, in the border areas of these so far. Well, I guess part of the problem is that Nigeria is a country with many problems, and it's difficult to be on all fronts for a state that is both. That may seem very powerful, very strong, but suffers from very severe organizational governance and credibility problems. I think that is essentially the problem.
Sure. And what do you think is the objective of whichever group carried out that attack at the weekend? What are they trying to tell people in Borno State and in the rest of Nigeria?
Well, from interviews with local people, it seems that this operation was very specifically targeted. It was a reaction to the arrest of and killing by the military of a Boko Haram member, and basically other members of the same unit turned up and punished villagers whom they accused of having betrayed their comrade. So it's really about putting the fear into civilians and forcing them to stay silent and obey the groups. It's essentially a struggle of sovereignty, I guess.
And of course, there's an international operation underway in the region. The countries concerned, like Niger, Chad, Cameroon, have been coordinating their efforts amongst themselves as well to try to tackle this problem of jihadists crossing the very porous borders. Is the reason for their apparent non-success up until this point a matter of resources, or is there another problem that they're just not getting right?
Well, for instance, the incident we're talking about near Zabarmari in Kobeshe, this incident is outside the zone of operation of the multinational joint task force, which really focuses on the area of the Lake Chad itself, so the border area between Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Nigeria. It has been a long time coming, the MNGTF, and President Buhari, to his credit, when he took over in 2015, did quite a bit to make it work better. But clearly, it still has a way to go. And I think part of the problem is that the other countries, Niger, Cameroon, and Chad, feel that Nigeria is not really committed, is not putting the resources, the efforts necessary to do their part. So they feel like they're going to stay essentially on a defensive position, handle what Boko Haram does in their areas of control, and then not really, wait for Nigeria to show signs of commitment before really, acting on.
Okay, you say some progress has been made by President Buhari since he took office. I mean, 36,000 people have lost their lives to jihadist groups in Nigeria during these last 10 years, so about half of that on President Buhari's watch. I mean, where do you see things heading to from here? I mean, what's your view of the outlook for this area of Nigeria and Nigeria as a whole?
Well, I think the body count is actually much higher, and I think in this body count you also have to include all the people who've been killed as the result of a counterinsurgency, which can be extremely clumsy at times, to say the least. And that is a serious part of the problem actually there. Having a clumsy counterinsurgency sometimes is actually worse than having counterinsurgency at all, because you're basically pushing people in the direction of the insurgents. I mean, my sense is that the Nigerian authorities have what it takes to contain ISWAP and JAS to their current areas. They have air power. And with air power, you can stop insurgents from taking cities, from, fully occupying a long time important cities and key road junctions and so on. But you can't actually set out to root them out from the rural areas. It demands, it's a whole different thing. You can't do that with planes and helis. You have to redeploy the state. You have to redeploy services. You have to redeploy law and order systems, and that's going to be a challenge. So I think we're in this for quite some time.
Vincent Foucher, thank you very much indeed, researcher at CNRS. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to France 24.